95 and 96.1, The Rock Wheelie Big Show continuing on here. It's the week of Joes. We had Joe Satriani on with us yesterday. Today we are super stoked to be joined by Joe Mantegna, who's joining us here to talk a little bit about Criminal Minds. Joe, thanks so much for joining us on the Wheelie Big Show. We truly do appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. Always great to talk to Michigan, or Wisconsin.
You got us. You're good, man. Don't worry about that.
How early it is here. I'm thinking, wait a minute. That's right. Fond du Lac. I spent time there.
Have you really? Okay.
You've been to Fond du Lac?
Well, sure. When you live in Chicago, you grow up in Chicago, Fond du Lac is one of those places you ultimately wind up in at some point, sure.
There you go. Whether you wanted to be here or not, that's a totally different story.
Yeah, no. I mean, people would have, summer houses up there and stuff like that.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good. So, Okay, so Criminal Minds, back again. What interests you so much about this character still after you've been playing this for a while? Why does this role continue to be something that excites you?
I'm not sure what's me anymore. You know what I mean? Between Fat Tony and David Rossi, I'm not sure where Joe Mantegna falls in here anymore. But it's a privilege to play somebody who's actually based on, in essence, a real human being, in the sense that there are these people who do this job. I mean, there is a behavior analysis unit of the FBI. Well, one of our technical advisors is a writer on the show. Jim Clemente, who's a former, FBI profiler, and I think about it. Jim's an Italian American. He's from the East Coast, but still, we have so much in common. And he's a writer now, and my character is supposedly has gone on to be a successful novelist as well. And so there's just a lot of there's that. It's easy for me to make that jump and to be able to say, this is the kind of guy that not only can exist, the person like this really does exist, and the kind of work that they do is very admirable. And so it's nice to play one of the good guys. Play a guy that at the end of the day, hopefully saves lives, and it's good that he's on the planet. So I still enjoy doing that.
So Joe, when you get in for a read through and you're looking through some of the scripts that you get, and you go, this is legit. I mean, how did they come up with this? How did writers do this? But you're telling me, and you've got some people that are very well versed with what we're writing about and talking about here in Criminal Minds.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's a little scary. But, when we first started the show, our showrunner, Ed Bernero, who was a former Chicago policeman for 10 years, he came up with this concept of, anybody who watches the show will see that we always do these scenes at what we call the round table, where we all get together in our main kind of office, and it's a round table, and we sit there and discuss the crime that we're about to go solve. And the analogy Ed made, and I've been to Quantico many times, the real place, and they have everything is very much exactly the same, but their table is very long and rectangular to hold more people. But Ed says the reason we made it a round table is we have to think of ourselves, we are the knights of the round table of today, and we're fighting the dragons, what I mean? The dragons being the serial killers.
Sure, absolutely.
So there is that. So it's that analogy, and that's what goes through our heads in the sense that, we are this one last bastion of defense against the dragons out there. And so these are the things that get us through it. And unfortunately, those things do happen. And that's why we sometimes have to show them exactly as they would happen. And it can be a little disturbing and all that, but yet I think that's what's also fascinating about it.
Absolutely. That's what keeps drawing people back to the show, no doubt. And you talked about your one iconic role. You mentioned Fat Tony, so I have to ask you about that as well. So
sure.
So are you one of those guys? Fat Tony's going to be around as long as the Simpsons are around, and I think the Simpsons are going to be around for as long as they want to be around. That pretty accurate from what you've heard?
Well, they're in year 30, so
it's unreal.
It's really something. I first did mine, back in it was 1991, and I thought it was going to be a one-shot deal, and I was very flattered. I just come off doing Godfather 3, the movie, and so it was like a logical thing. Oh, let's get that guy who does Joey Zaza in Godfather to do the voice of this character. And I thought, this is cute. This was their third season, and I watched a few and said, this is fun. I like the writing, and that'll be fun to do. Little did I know, 27 years later, I'm still doing the role, but I still love it. And I mean, they've kept the quality up. I mean, and that's the key. I mean, I hopefully we feel the same way about Criminal Minds. You know, there's a saying that if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. And
Awesome.
it holds true for television or film or whatever. And so I think if you can keep the quality up, you're doing a good job. There's no reason why you can't endure.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we want to remind people Criminal Minds on CBS at 9 p.m. Central Time here in Wisconsin. And Tony, I've got to ask this because I'm a big Airheads fan. I love that movie. And Ian was one of my things. Did you ever get naked pictures of B. Arthur?
Well, you know, ironically, I wound up doing a movie with B. Arthur.
How awkward is that?
I think I'd done it before that.
Okay, good.
It made it even funnier. But I did do a movie For Better or Worse with her, and she played Jason Alexander and James Woods' mother.
Excellent.
This comedy, and so I got to know her a little bit, but no photos.
That's good. That's a good thing.
So, Joe, with your iconic career, I mean, there's so much that you've done. Have you ever done something and looked back on it and said, "Wow, I can't believe I did that"?
Just about everything I've done, I look back and say, "Wow, I can't believe I did that." I mean, sometimes with a smile on my face, and sometimes with that quizzical look, like "Wow," you know. But it's all good, you know. I regret nothing. Feel so blessed to have had the career I've had, in the sense that everything I've ever done, you know, it was a good idea at the time. And regardless of how it turns out or whatever, that's almost secondary. You do the experience, and that's what life's all about anyway. You make these choices and you move on. But it's all been good. I regret nothing. I've had an incredible life. It's afforded me an incredible life with my family. We've traveled all over the world because of what I do. And so, yeah, it's all good. I feel like, you know, it's like that old movie, you know, Somebody Up There Likes Me, that Paul Newman did. You know?
Sure, absolutely. That's fantastic. All right, Joe, we know you got to go, so we'll get you out of here on this, but we just got to know, we know being a Chicago guy, we know you're a Cubs fan, you're in Brewer country. How do you think the division's going to shake out this year? Well,
hey, you know, look, we finally won one after 108 years. Not good for 50, 60. But we'll see. I mean, look, and it's always been a great conflict between the Cubs and the Brewers, and so, you know, on we go. But I think it's just great that the Midwest has finally got represented on the big stage there, and we'll hope for another one. And I wish the Brewers best of luck, because look, I certainly do have a fondness for Wisconsin and you know, that part of the country. I'm still, my heart's in the Midwest, you know.
Love it. Well, thanks for getting up early with us this morning. We appreciate it, my friend. We can't wait to check out the new episodes of Criminal Minds and come back and talk to us anytime, all right?
My pleasure. Thanks, folks.
Thanks.